Welcome back everyone. This is the second day of the Azure Masterclass. In the previous video, we covered how to get your own Azure account set up and a couple of the basic features that are present, including how to navigate through some of the menus that already exist. Today, we're going to be covering the basics that allow you to get ready within your account, such as setting up your management groups, resource groups, and then making sure that you are ready to set up the resources that will get you where you need to be. If we just start off with a quick recap on navigation within the portal and just familiarize ourselves with the menus. First off, obviously, we've got the dashboard, which you can access via the top left. This is a fully customizable dashboard. You can see there's already a couple of things here by default within there, but obviously you can edit it and actually add in a few simple things. You know, if you wanted to see a user sign-in summary, you can just drag that straight into your dashboard and you can see straight off the bat it's already pulling details in for you. So you can customize that to be whatever you want and show any details that you consider relevant, which is pretty good and pretty helpful. Within the home, you can see obviously it's got all of your Azure resources and a lot of the things that you can see there are, you know, things that I've navigated to recently, such as subscriptions and resource groups. So a lot of the things that you familiarize yourself with and the things that you're going to often are going to be here and ready for clicking through. If we just jump over to the top menu, you can see there's a bunch of different things that you've got available to you. Obviously, you've got your settings that allow you to jump through and, you know, change. You can go in and change your appearance. You can change back to the, you know, default theme if you wanted to, but you know, we only do dark theme here.
I like to keep the traditional white and blue. It's one of the only things that I do not use in dark mode.
The directory and subs, this is super handy. So obviously you'll have the default subscription that you built when you've done your free trial account for your Azure. But we've got two here, so you can see that you can actually filter your subscriptions down. Obviously for this, I'll just select them all, but you can see you can actually choose which resources you want to see at any time. You do have a couple other things up here, like if you have any notifications, you'll see them in that bar. Then you've also got your Azure Cloud Shell. It's something that we'll probably go through setting up in another video, but when you navigate through that, you look to set up a storage account, and that gives you the ability to just have a Cloud Shell straight in the web UI, which is super, super helpful. For the main part of it though, when we're within Azure, we'll just use the search bar at the top because it's just the fastest way to get through and look at the resources that you want to look at. For example, if you wanted to go and look at your subscriptions, you can just search at the top for subs, click that through, and you can see everything that you've got here, which is really nice and easy to go. If you did want to add another subscription, it is super simple. You do just press add, and when you go through, you can see that you just basically go in and select your billing accounts, and that gives you the ability to just go and create more subs for whatever it is that you need. Another thing that is really, really good to familiarize yourself with is the marketplace. If you do just search for that along the top, you can see that it's got all of these. The marketplace has various software applications, developer services, and all sorts of data in there. Even if you search for a big vendor like FortiGate in the marketplace, you can see that it will actually return a bunch of results for some really important FortiGate features and software. There's other things in there, you know, like VMware. You can even get some NSX deployments and some other Azure-specific VMware ESXi host. But even if it was something Azure-specific, like you wanted to build a multi-session AVD host, you can actually just search for that and you can pull an image straight from the marketplace that comes included with all your essentials like FSLogix and Microsoft 365 apps. Getting handy with the marketplace and know what's in there is super beneficial. Another great thing within the Azure portal is that Microsoft have made it super, super easy for people to know whether they're following best practices. So you can see I've already got a recent service here for Advisor. So if you were to just search for that and click it, you can actually see coming into here that it gives you the ability to know that you are following best practice and that you are following all of Microsoft's advisories. It breaks it down into cost, security, and reliability. It just gives you a very easy way to know that you've optimized your Azure deployments. So you can see here we've got one impacted resource, and if we just go into that, you can see that one of these virtual networks that we have is telling us to use a NAT gateway for the outbound, which obviously it's only in testing right now, but you can see straight off the bat how easy it is for the advisor to give you some great advice on how to follow best practice. Make sure you familiarize yourself with something like that because it is really, really great to know. Onto the getting ready for building resources. One of the most important things to get right from the start is access to your subscriptions and access to your resource groups. So the best way to do that is using management groups. Microsoft have made it super, super easy to make sure that you can really narrow down your permissions and make sure that everything's restricted how it needs to be for your business or for yourself. So you can see here, we've already got a couple of management groups in place. If I'm to just create another one here for the Sandbox subscription that I made before, just create a child group. Let's call this Start Sandbox for the display name, submit. Should only take a couple of seconds to make this, and then we'll be able to move our subscription into that management group and it will inherit the permissions that we want it to have. Like I said, they made it super easy. Sandbox is now there. So what we should be able to do is add the subscription, choose the one that we want and save that. as you can see now, the subscription is now into that sandbox management group that we've just created. So I did put permissions on this earlier onto the top level. So if you were to go into access control, what you'll see is some inherited permissions for this, for myself and for this group. So you can see inherited via the management group. I'll just quickly run you through if we make another one. So if you just search for Azure Active Directory, and then you can go into groups and you can see there's already a couple here, but if we just make a new one for the purpose of this, we'll do the access to Azure subscription reader cloud group. The owner, I'll just select myself for the purpose of this. And then members, let's just add Dean and select that. So if we just create that group, it should only take a second, and go back into the management groups, which you can see is just in the recent because we've already been there. What we should be able to do for the purpose of this, you may want to lock it down further for yourself, but just for the purpose of this, we'll assign it at the higher level. We can go into access control. We can add a new role assignment reader. So you can see readers already here. So if we just click that and go next to the members page, select members, and we can actually see it's already there, access to Azure subscription reader. When we're reviewing assign that will appear under here. So now we can see that that group and any members it has now have reader access. So if we're to go back using the navigation at the top here to the management groups, and just say, let's go into this sandbox management group, what we'll see in the access control is that it has already inherited the reader right here. So you can see that's inherited in the management group, which is nice and simple. It gives you a really easy way to control access to your subscriptions, and you can actually limit it down further to specific resources if you really wanted to. So once you're actually happy with your management group structure, you can actually start looking to create your resource groups, which are a way to group your resources together that share the same lifecycle, permissions, and policies. You can do this a couple of ways. You can do it from the top left with the create a resource option in that menu. Just in here, if you just search for resource groups, you can see that you've got the option to create them there. But for the purpose of this, we'll just use the search at the top. You can see that the service appears. And then from this menu here, we can press create. It's really simple, just in the basics. You can just choose the subscription you want it in. So for this, we want it in the sandbox. Naming wise, make sure you have a really good naming convention defined. You want to make sure that there's an obvious name for the resource group so that its purpose is very obvious at a glance and you don't not sat there questioning what it's for. For the purpose of this, if we just go with an abbreviation for resource group, we'll put our name in there, testing prod 001 region. We'll just place this in UK South, and review and create because we don't need any tags on that. So you can see that's already created the resource group there. And with the creation of that, you're now actually ready to build resources, whether it be a virtual machine or an app service in your Azure account. Ta-da! With the creation of that resource group, you are now ready to create some resources in your Azure account, which is something that we'll take you through in the next video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share for more Azure related content. And if you have any questions, drop them in the comments. See you in the next one. Boom. Sponsored by Dr. Pepper.
No.